My name is Jeanette Jameson, and I will be talking to you today about America's special education law known as the Individuals with Disabilities Act, or IDEA, as well as talking about the Individual Education Program, or IEP, for students with exceptionalities. Now, under the Individuals with Disabilities Act, schools are required to find and evaluate children from birth to age 21 that are thought to have disabilities free of charge to families. Now, in order to qualify for services, a child must not only have a disability, but must also need special education to make progress in school. There are various services that your child may be eligible to receive. The most common related services include audiology services, school health services, counseling services, medical services, social work services, occupational therapy, transportation, orientation and mobility services, parent counseling and training, psychological services, recreation, rehabilitation counseling, and interpreting services. Now, there are 12 basic components of the IEP process. We start with free, appropriate public education that must be provided by school districts to children with disabilities, otherwise known as FAPE. These children also must learn side by side with peers as much as possible. This is referred to as the least restrictive environment. As mentioned earlier, public schools are required to seek out and identify any child who may need special education. This is called child find. This includes children with developmental delays, learning and thinking differences, as well as emotional disabilities. The school is also required to do an evaluation by law if it has reason to believe the child has a disability. Schools must consider a request for evaluation whether it is by a teacher or a parent guardian. However, the school does not have to agree to a request if there is no reason to think the child has a disability that actually requires service. A student must have a disability and, as a result of that disability, needs special education to make progress in school. To qualify for services, a child must have a disability that falls under one of 13 categories listed under IDEA: autism, deafblindness, deafness, emotional disturbance, hearing impairment, intellectual disability, multiple disabilities, orthopedic impairment, other health impairment, which includes ADHD, specific learning disability. This includes dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and other learning differences, speech or language impairment, traumatic brain injury, or visual impairment, including blindness. Once it has been determined that your child does qualify for special education services, then a team of professionals will meet to create an individualized education plan, or IEP, for the child. This is a legal document that spells out the child's education goals as well as the services and support the school will be providing. In this meeting, parents are required to attend. No decisions regarding the child's education will be made unless the parent or guardian gives their signature of approval. Parents are a crucial element of the IEP process and will be informed and present during the whole process of creation of an IEP, evaluation, and ongoing progress monitoring, as well as all future IEP meetings. Students are also invited to attend where appropriate. Progress will be evaluated once a quarter, as well as annually. Now, parents, pay close attention to this next part. You and your child, have legal protections under the IDEA law. These protections are called procedural safeguards. The school is required to provide you with a written explanation of your rights under IDEA. You have a legal right to participate in meetings about your child's education. You have a right to see and get an explanation of your child's school records. The school is required to protect your child's confidentiality and personal information. Before an evaluation takes place, you must be informed by your school and provide your written consent. The school must give a written notice before it changes your child's special education services. Notices received from the school must be not only understandable to the general public, but also be in your native language, including Braille. If you disagree with the school's evaluation results, you have the right to get an independent education evaluation. If you disagree with a proposed change, the stay put protection keeps your child's current IEP in place while you and the school work things out. If you disagree with the school about what's best for your child, IDEA offers dispute resolution options. You can negotiate and discuss things with the school. You can use mediation with a third party, and you also have the right to due process. Due process starts with a written complaint and ends with a decision after a hearing. You can also file a complaint with the U.S. Department of Education if the school is not following IDEA or if you believe there is discrimination against your child. The school is required to give you written notice before it changes your child's special education services, whether adding or denying services. One last component parents should be aware of are the ethical responsibilities of the teacher. Educators have to follow a professional code of ethics that respect the diverse characteristics and needs of individuals with exceptionalities and their families. Some of these ethics include maintaining challenging expectations for students in order to develop the highest possible learning outcomes and quality of life with respect to their dignity, culture, language, and background. Maintaining a high level of professional competence and integrity. Develop relationships with families based on mutual respect. Using evidence-based research and data to inform professional practice. To protect the physical and psychological safety of students. And advocating for professional conditions and resources that will help improve the learning outcomes of children with exceptionalities. Thank you for listening. I hope that you have found this video to be educational.